Welcome back to Frozen Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be giving an update on Zomedica with the ticker ZOM. Make sure to watch my previous video if you want to go in depth into their different presentations and their websites and the things on the pipeline. So this is just more of a technical perspective update as well. So the two going hand in hand. So first thing, we're going to look into different averages so we can see that 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA, which is amazing. Looking into the different MACD, we can see that both are up an upcline, and the MACD histogram is also on the upcline. One of the things that you're looking at here is you're seeing the William percent R is currently being very close. Well, it is actually being in a part where it's overbought, so that might be a little bit dangerous. Momentum is increasing, so there might be here a little bit of a pullback we see. So we need to look into the 1 hour period to try to see if that pullback has happened already. So taking a quick look into the 1 hour period, and we can see, by the way, here that it's under the 200 SMA, which is also a good sign as it's pushing towards upwards, but it's still above the 50 SMA, which is amazing. Going in towards the 5 days, 1 hour period, we get to take a quick look into the movement here. And we get to see that it has received a bit of pullback, at least in the extended market, and it's becoming in more closer towards the neutral. But you want to look at is somewhere where it becomes a little bit of oversold. That kind of pullback creates a bull flag where it jumps upwards. So we're still getting around on that ways, right? There is a good amount of supports and resistances that I would actually look at. So the next resistance that we're seeing here is somewhere around 0.27, which is not far off. And then there's a pivot point around 0.25. So if it touches that 0.25, it has a high chance of bouncing back up. Now, in terms of going in towards the resistance, the current resistance is sitting somewhere around 0.23. I'll say 0.23 is a good resistance that we're looking at here. In terms of the average directional index, it did show a strength in the 1 day, in the 1 hour movement where it's seeing a pullback that doesn't have much strength. In terms of the MACD here, we get to see that it has actually seen a bit of movement in almost closer to the closing time, and it's receiving a little bit of a pullback. So that's going to be determined based on the pre-market. But what it looks like is it is highly likely that we might get actually another green. Now, it depends on this hour is not done yet. It's halfway through it. So we might want to look into perhaps the 5 days, 30 minutes and try to check this out. So we can get to see that it is actually declining, and we might see a little bit of a pullback in at least an extended market before we see green. But it looks like the movement of uptrend is really strong. So what we're seeing here is higher highs and higher lows. Now, going in towards the moving averages, we can see that this stock is above the moving average, but it has been trading above the moving average for quite a bit. So what we might see is a bit of a pullback, and that's what the tail is getting really closer to it. But the moving average is increasing daily. Going in towards the basic trend line that I'm going to be seeing here, somewhere around here and still within the trend line. Now, the trend line does increase day to day, and the difference is around almost it's very minimal, but you still get to see that difference. That's on a 3-month scale. So let's try to look into a 1-month scale. It still holds in that movement. So let's try to look into perhaps the 5-day scale and try to find out perhaps what the current trend line is on this here. So let's quickly draw a trend line. Let's consider this to be the low. Okay. So if it was to fall, I would say it wouldn't fall more than 0.23 just based on this line. So let's take a quick look into the Fibonacci retracements. Fibonacci retracements over here, we get to see a little bit of right here. So 0.23 seems to be both good support, a Fibonacci retracement support, both it matches the traditional and the Fibonacci retracements. So I would put my stop loss somewhere under the 0.23 just in case it receives a pullback. Now that's it did receive multiple different aspects here, so in terms of patterns and as well as in terms of an uptrend. One pattern here that I can see is a cup with a handle, but it has already been played and it's seen some green, so that's good side. Now another one that might actually form is double top, and you want to make sure that doesn't happen. Double top would probably see a little bit of another bearish pullback here run. So it's a little bit of a careful movement with your stop limits. Now, in terms of going in here to try to see the stock is above the 50 SMA. So that's a good sign where it's in a bull run. Now, going in towards a little bit of the news for this company. Now, it has been receiving a bit of an exposure on TV, so that's good. No new news today, so the news is still being played from Friday. There is a lot of catalysts that I mentioned in the last video, so I would recommend for you to watch this, to watch that one. Now, for me, I wouldn't buy it right now. I'd still wait at least until the pre-market to determine what the next movement. And what am I looking for here? Is I'm trying to look for a pullback to buy that. And you can get to see that with pullbacks, it does actually jump quite a bit. With a pullback here, it did jump again. And so this stock likes pullbacks, around pullback here before it jumps again. And so what you're doing is you're trying to get into the low high of the uptrend before it gets to the high. And that's basically my plan for this stock. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this stock down in the comments below. Share and subscribe. Have a good day.